You're listening to the Never Heard of It podcast,
a Night Shift Radio original. Every week we bring you the good,
the bad,
the weird,
and lesser known streaming movies.
Hit subscribe for new episodes every Thursday and Sunday.
I had a hiccup just before we did the clap, and now I'm nervous that I'm gonna have the hiccups while we're recording.
That'll be interesting.
It would be.
It would just be like, oh no, Bree's drunk this whole episode, but like Bugs Bunny cartoon drunk, not like real life drunk. Yeah, with like the bubbles coming, like that's.
Now listen, you listen to me.
Here's the thing. Like, I grew up. My parents were in softball. They had a team called the bar team because they loved going to bars.
That makes sense.
They did bowling and stuff like that. We had this huge like plot of land. I mean, we had literally a trailer on this giant plot of land with a huge pool in Phoenix, New York, where I grew up until I was about 8. And so they would have the whole softball team and other softball teams would come over and they would just party and drink in the yard and like hang out. So like I saw real drunk people all the time, right? All the time. My mom and them were always partying. There was always drinking and stuff like that. They used to get beer balls. I don't know if you remember those, but they look like giant like Christmas ornaments, like the bulbs.
Yeah.
But they were just filled with beer.
Yeah, that's a weird idea.
Yeah, so beer balls. But I remember being like 5 and watching my mom and her friends like stand up like bowling pins and then roll the beer balls at them. And then everyone would like pretend to fall down. It was really great. It was very funny. Good, weird childhood. Really weird childhood. But like, so I saw drunk people, but still I watched Bugs Bunny and then expected that all drunk people would act like how they acted on that show. And then, even though I saw really drunk people, I was just like, no, this is how you act when you're drunk. So I expected it, and I never saw it. And it was kind of disappointing.
It's very disappointing.
Yeah.
Really, like cartoons set us up for a much more interesting reality than what we actually got.
I know. It's quite a shame. Like I truly thought I could just throw a black hole somewhere and reach in and grab anything I wanted. I mean, that happened all the time.
Portable hole,
yeah. Speaking of portable hole, never mind. That's not this podcast. We're not talking dirty here. But speaking of cartoons, I mean, it's, not exactly like cartoons, but there is, it's spring anime season right now. So, a lot of new shows coming. Of course, a lot of big, popular returning shows. Like Dr. Stone is returning. Demon Slayer is returning for its 3rd season with the Sword Village arc. Birdie Wing Golf, A Girl's Story, is returning for a season 2. But on top of that, every season there is a set of new series, a brand new premiere of series. And I love anime, and I appreciate animes with really weird long titles.
Okay.
So here are a couple that I wrote down just so we could talk about them. So the first one, Dead Mount Death Play. Just sounds like a random bit of words, but the battle between a hero and a necromancer rages on with a fight across space and time.
Love that.
Sounds amazing. The thing, Dead Mount Death Play, crazy. Love it to death. Absolutely great. Here's another one. The title actually isn't bad, but I watched the first episode of this today, actually. It's called Hell's Paradise. A group of criminals and executioners are sent to a remote island to retrieve the elixir of life. But this is set during the Edo period of Japan.
Okay.
So there's like ninjutsu involved and that kind of stuff. Really, really cool. The next one, this is where the titles start getting weird. I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too.
What?
So a boy, I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too.
Two as in also, or two as in
also?
Okay.
As in also. Yep. So a boy travels to another world to level up and gain new cheat skills in his past and present life.
Love that.
So the story, of course, is isekai. That's where a person gets transported to another world. Mm-hmm. So basically, he's, isekai, he goes to another world. He, gets crazy, magic skills and stuff like that, but then goes back to his real world and realizes he has all of that stuff too. Very crazy. This one is actually a season 2, but it's in another world with my smartphone. Season 2. So this one's actually really cool. Is Toya and his sister they're like pro gamers, and they end up getting transported to another world, but they have their cell phones that still work exactly like they do, except they also have like special powers.
Ooh.
So they keep like gaming people, like, you know, whether it's like poker or like chess, or they like create video games, like that's how they like winning battles, and is really weird. So another one is Kamikatsu, working for God in a godless world. Also really interesting. Great story.
That's fascinating.
The heir to a cult is reincarnated to another world where the concept of God does not exist. Love it.
What happens to their cult? Do we ever find out?
I don't know. The show doesn't air until the 5th, so I'll find out an idea then.
Are they the sole heir? Is the cult now like rudderless? I have to know.
What is it, right? So here's another one. My clueless first friend. This is a good one. So a transfer student meets one gloomy classmate, and a brand new friendship begins. Ooh. This is a slice of life story, like that one. And then this one, I actually watched the first episode today, and I really like this one. I think it's going to be a cute little like love story. My love story with Yamada-kun at level 999.
Oh.
So a love story begins between two gamers, one who maybe loves the same game too much. Oh. But it actually starts off where she's dating this guy. He dumps her for someone else that he met while playing this big RPG game that they all play. And she ends up running into this other guy who ends up being like a pro famous gamer, but he's extremely aloof and he only responds with like one word answers. And she bumps into him, you know, in game, and then him in real life. And at the same time, her boyfriend comes up and is like, "Oh my God, Yamada-kun, like you're so famous. Like you're like, I idolize you. This is crazy." And then he's like, "Akane, what are you doing here?" And she's like, "This is my boyfriend." And Yamada-kun's like, "What?" So very cute. So it's got this cute little, you know, game going on with that. Very like that one. And then this is the last one. There's some other really good ones, but this is the last one. My one-hit kill sister. Love it already. A brother and sister are sent to another world, isekai, with the older sister getting some overpowered skills. So I love me an isekai story. A lot of them this season, which is very common. Isekai is insanely popular in Japanese anime. I mean, it is like the majority of plots are some form of isekai with a lot of these stories. So I'm very excited for this season. Some good stuff coming up.
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit when you're in another world. So like,
literally,
that's a really smart idea for anime to use that as a plot device. So
yeah, and it always ends up the other world plays out like an RPG video game where they can like look at their stats and level things up and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I'm a fan. I know, right? That would be so cool.
Doing that in the real world would involve entirely too much math and spreadsheets.
Yes, seriously. I mean, it's all, you'd have to carry out a big notebook all the way and be like, "Hang on, I got to level up my, you know, I'm due for a long rest. Give me an hour or two."
I forget what my skill in math is.
Yeah, right. So outside of that, I also watched a brand new movie that came out on Netflix. And you're probably thinking like, "Oh, was it the Adam Sandler one?" It was not the Adam Sandler one. Oh. Even though I will watch that one because it was directed by Jeremy Gerlich, who owns American High. This is a big deal for him. So out of respect for Jeremy, I will end up watching Murder Mystery, but I'm probably going to watch the first one first because this is Murder Mystery 2.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But the movie that I watched was called Kill Boksoon.
What?
Kill Boksoon.
Okay.
So this is a brand new Korean film that just launched on Netflix. You know, very, very excited for this. It looked really, really cool. Is that the story? Is that the title now? I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it on IMDb. But anyways,
You've been bamboozled.
I've been bamboozled. Maybe it's not Kill. It's Kill something. Boksoon. That's what it is. Kill Boksoon. So really cool story. So the IMDb description for this one is: a single mother who is a renowned hired killer finds it difficult to achieve a balance between her personal life and her work life.
As happens.
As happens, right? This is a good story. So she has a 15-year-old daughter. So her name is Gil Boksoon. But because she's so good at her job, everyone calls her Kill Boksoon.
I get it.
But it also works out because towards the end of the movie, an order is issued to kill her, so it's kill Boksoon. So there's like a two for play on words, right? I know. It's pretty good. Now, there is like an element of John Wick to this story. Like, she's a master assassin. She's trying to protect her family, type deal, and like just do her job. So she works for a big firm called MK. And here's the interesting about this is that the firm calls their contracts, their kills, they call them shows. So they say like, okay, you got to go to the show and do the thing. So that's what, instead of saying like, go do the hit or go do the kill or whatever, like the assassination, they call them shows. And I thought that was really interesting.
It's good to have a code word when you're doing murder.
Yeah, a little bit. Right. Yeah. But I thought there's something very theatric about it. Right.
Yeah.
So we learned that the director or the head of this organization, he has a soft spot for Boksoon. She's been with the company for a really long time, but his sister, who is the director of the company, just plain hates Boksoon, does not like her whatsoever, and is like really out to get her. So Boksoon goes to do a show, and she has an intern with her. I also think it was great that she had an intern to her assassination appointment. I thought that was really great. So she goes to do this kill, and one of the rules of the company is we don't kill kids, right? No minors whatsoever.
Yeah.
So she goes to kill this guy, and it's supposed to look like a suicide. They pump in sleeping gas into the apartment, so he passes out, and then they're going to stage the suicide. But when she does, she realizes he's really young. Like he's maybe 18. Like he's barely an adult, like was a minor like a month ago type deal. And she's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel good about this. And she reads the suicide note, which she makes a point of saying, like, I don't ever read the suicide note. The less I know, the better. Like, just go in, do my job, get out.
Makes sense.
So she reads the suicide note and learns that it's all about a political ploy because his dad is a senator or like a prime minister or something like that in Korea. And she's like, so this is all just politics. Like, I don't deal in politics either. Like, I kill bad guys. Like, my job is to go kill people that are bad. She's like, I don't like this. This is political ploy. Like, we're taking this. So she bails out of the assignment, out of the show, and reports back like, hey, I failed the task. If you fail a task, though, you got to get killed. That's the end of the story. Because, like, you're out. You failed, you're out. So, of course, the head of everything is like, I don't want to do that. This is Boksoon. Like, let's negotiate something. Her contract was due to expire, and the director was worried that she was going to leave to become a better parent for her 15-year-old daughter who is going through some things. And she promised she would not do that. So there's kind of like this, well, your contract's ending soon. You promised you wouldn't leave because of your kid, but it feels like you're going to leave. And she's like, fine, don't come kill me. I'll renew my contract. And, but I have a couple of, things I want you to get around. Like, you can't do, this, you can't kill the kid. You can't hire somebody else to kill this kid. That's that. I'll sign the contract, whatever you want to do. So this power struggle ensues and, but there's a really cool stylized thing about this is that when Boksoon is fighting, she'll have a moment where she'll look like she's about to do something and you'll see the whole thing play out and you'll see her like die. And then it rewinds back to Boksoon, like knowing that, hey, if I do this thing, I'm going to die. So she does something different. And it's really cool. And in the end of the movie, the big fight scene, that plays out like multiple times. So there's this huge room where like Matrix style, clones of all the people are fighting like around, and she's seeing the different ways that she's going to die until she finds the one move where if she does this, she'll win the day, right?
Neat.
Very, very cool. I loved the stylistic part of this. The story's really great. The mother-daughter dynamic, could have used more of it, to be honest. I really could have done more of them talking. They don't really talk a lot, but the big moment in the end kind of works out. But all the killing things, the intrigue, the sort of inner politics of these assassinations, because MK is like the big company, but there's a bunch of subsidiary assassin companies that all work under MK's umbrella, and they're all different like houses of assassins. Freaking loved it. Really, really loved it. I think it was such an amazing movie. Just came out, again, Kill Boksoon, Korean film, just came out on Netflix. Highly recommend watching it, especially if you're a John Wick fan. I think this is like a perfect Korean version of John Wick. And I hate that we have to compare all assassin films to John Wick nowadays, but the movies are just so good that you kind of like you can't not. Like every, space film is like set against Star Wars at this moment. Like every shark film is set against Jaws. Like it's the same sort of idea now.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your touchstones, the things you're compared against, and it makes sense. I, on the other hand, far from pursuing new things, have continued on my nostalgia kick. Last week we were talking about how I had watched the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, I'm here to tell you, I watched the sequel. I watched Out of the Shadows.
Yeah, all right,
and it was definitely a Michael Bay film.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has a shtick.
He has a style, and it is very clear. Like the like climactic battle where they're fighting Krang. I'm thinking MCU now. Where
Right.
they're fighting Krang the Conqueror. Is very like it could have been straight out of the Transformers movies. He's got like his camera angles and like his movement effects like around the battle. Like it's very signature style and. In small doses, I actually really like that. Like the Transformers movies as we were talking about last week, like they got a little bit much when it came to some of that shit, but like in small doses, I think Michael Bay's style does work. I recognized entirely too much of the film, which leads me to believe that maybe like I half watched it on like a flight one time or something like that. Cause like I recognized some of the Bebop and Rocksteady scenes. I recognized like the entire intro where they're up in the Jumbotron watching the game and the pizza falls. Like, and so I was like, wait, am I rewatching this? But there was also plenty that I didn't recognize. So like, I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, Will Arnett's Vern is still stupid. But between those two Ninja Turtles movies and our episode coming up this Sunday, the most Megan Fox I've been exposed to in a long time.
Oh yeah,
and just like continues to reinforce to me that like I think she's done dirty by the role she's cast in because I think she's significantly better than she gets credit for because she just gets really bad parts, and I don't think it's her fault. I think she does the best with what she has.
yeah. I feel like she's one of those actors, where they were like, "Oh, you're pretty, great. That's all you have to offer," and she's like, "Wait, but also like," and what does a really good job of showcasing that? Jennifer's Body.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
love that movie, and she is fantastic in that movie, and it shows the range that she can play. But then she is still a little bit objectifying, but like. It's kind of the point of the movie, and she even talks about how like it was a weird experience with that, but she loves that movie too.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Speaking of bad writing, though, so to some extent, I will say rightfully, Velma got dunked on a lot for bad writing. I don't think it deserved the level of shit that it got. I definitely think it deserved some blowback because I mean a lot of the jokes were just like, really, you phoned that one in, folks. But I recently started watching the I think a 2010-ish series Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated because I had seen some episodes back when it was airing originally or shortly after, and I remembered it had a really kind of fun overarching plot like across the entire series. There's this big mystery that they're solving in the context of all of these little mysteries, and it does a lot of poking fun at the original series. It like references a lot of the original ghosts and monsters, quote unquote, and I thought that was really interesting. But holy shit, the character writing is terrible. Like every single one of it, I mean, every single one of them is written to be the worst parody of like the worst stereotype of their characters. Like Fred is just like imbecilic and like obsessed with traps, but then has this whole thing of like, oh, I might actually have feelings and I'm not really a guy. I have feelings. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's dumb. Daphne's only contribution is fawning over Fred and getting caught, which, I mean, I guess that's pretty true to her original character. But what really irks me is that they have Velma being just a petty and vindictive, shitty person all while being obsessed with trying to force a relationship with Shaggy. And like, this plot makes no sense. This is terrible writing for this character. And like, you don't even make it like fun or believable that like, there's hints at like a little, almost like just kind of like ships in the night friends could have been romantic but wasn't in Velma. And I think that's kind of a riff on maybe on this storyline. I don't know. But like, it's just bad. Like, she's just really badly written. And then of course there's these constant moments of them forcing Shaggy to choose between her and Scooby. And they even have Scooby being shitty about it. I'm like, he's the fucking dog, man. Let the dog just live. And so anyway, I'm still watching it. It's still terrible. But I just wanted to update you on that.
Such as the theme of our podcast is like, this is terrible. I'm still watching it, but it's terrible. We've been through for the past 5 years.
I needed something new to like just to binge in like the late nights when like I can't fall asleep and Ellen's in bed, and it was the new series of DuckTales, and I finished that, and that was very good. This is the opposite. This is very bad. But all that, I found one more piece of nostalgia from my youth to ruin for myself this week.
Go on.
That in another life where I was more interested in being a student or doing work or anything that requires effort,
Sure.
I might have gone into urban planning. And so like, it should be no surprise to you. I've always enjoyed like city planning games like SimCity and things like that. I was thinking the other day, like, I want to play a game like that again. It's been a while, but I want it to be like a really casual one. I didn't want to get into like City Skyline or something like that, which is, I'm told, like one of the best city building simulators out there. And I've seen like footage from it. It's pretty incredible, but like, it just sounds like a lot of work to me. So I did a Google search for casual city building games, and turns out that what is that? I knew the name of the company. Now I can't remember it anymore. The company that makes SimCity, starts with an M, actually made an iOS game, or mobile game, iOS and Android, SimCity Build It. And so I downloaded that. I downloaded that on my iPad yesterday, and I started playing, and immediately blew like the entire second half of yesterday and first half of today on it. It's terrible. It is one of those like freemium 97 different currencies, and in order to like to make any progress, you have to dump a boatload of cash into it, which I'm not willing to do, or you have to just sit and watch your entire city fall apart because like you can't afford the police station and the hospital and the school and the sewage and the other like 17 things that your Sims are leaving the city because you didn't do for them immediately. All of that to say, we need to wrap this up so I can check on my city.
Yeah, so you had mentioned before that, Megan Fox relates to the movie we have coming up. We have a brand new movie coming up this Sunday. We're continuing on with our indie darling films. This Sunday, we are reviewing the movie Big Gold Brick, which has Megan Fox in it. Mm-hmm. It is currently streaming on Hulu in America as of time of recording. So if you're the type of person that watches movies before we review them, that's where it is. That's your weekend watch. If not, listen in on Sunday to hear our full review, and then you can make a decision based on what we say.
Yeah.
Either works. Cool.
One might work better than the others. Wink, wink.
Those of you on YouTube can see us winking. Those of you on podcast world, you just have to imagine it. Try to guess which eye I was using.
Yeah.
So, hey, hit that subscribe button so you get notified when we have brand new episodes every Thursday and Sunday. Leave a rating and review if you can. Like and comment. The whole deal. You know what to do. You've been around the world before. You know what we all ask for. So do it, because it would be polite. Or, I don't know. Don't. I'm not your dad.
Be a lot cooler if you did, though.
Although I might be your dad. It was a wild time. Listen, the 2010s were a weird time. Anyways, so thanks a lot for joining us. We super appreciate it. And we will see you on Sunday.
I just want to add that if someone is like of the right age to be your child, they probably shouldn't be listening to this show.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Anyway, see y'all later.